Hi, for my assignment, I'm solving topic 9 equation C, which I'm writing right now. So the first step that we need to do is we need to rearrange the equation so that the terms are all on one side and the 27 is on the other side of the equation. So next what we need to do is we need to find the greatest common factor and factor the equation. And so right now I'm dividing 126 by 9 to find that 9 is the greatest factor here. And then right here I got that 36 is the greatest common factor here, and I'm going to be showing how I got that on my calculator right now with 144 divided by 36. So the next step is to split the terms in half, which is 7 and 7 for 14 and 2 and 2 for 4. And then you multiply them, and 7 times 7 is 49 and 2 times 2 is 4. And whatever that you add to one side, you have to add to the other. So don't forget the 9 times 49 from the factor. And we want to minus the 36 times 4 because of the negative in front of the 36. So I'm just adding them in my calculator to get the answer. So now I'm just going to rewrite the equation to keep it neat and not so crazy looking, and putting in the value on the other side of the equation, which is 324. So now I'm just going to factor that part out, which is going to be 9 parentheses x plus 7 squared minus 36 y plus 2 squared. And I kind of messed up here, but I promise that I fix it later. This is just a minor mistake I made. So I actually wrote out the horizontal and vertical equations just for reference to see, and we see it's a horizontal because the x term is coming first and the y is being subtracted from the x, and as we see it has to have a 1 on the other side, so we're just going to divide all terms by 324. So right here I'm just taking out my calculator to show how I divided, and as we see 9 and 36 both multiply to 324, so that makes it easier to just divide them. And then 324 over 324 is 1, which is what we need for the standard equation. And now I'm just rewriting the equation and putting it in standard form. We did it. So next, we are looking for the center, which is hk, and it's x minus h and x minus k. So the value is going to be negative from what it is in the equation. Next, we're going to find the vertices, which are h plus or minus a and k. So based on the equation, we actually see that the x value is over a squared. So we're just going to need to square root the 36. And the b value is under the y, and it's also squared. So we're just going to need to square root 9 to find b as well. So now that we found the a value, we're just going to subtract it from the negative 7. And right here I'm pulling out my calculator to show how I did that. It's just negative 7 minus 6, and that is negative 13, negative 2 for the first vertice. And then the second is negative 7 plus 6, which is negative 1, negative 2. So next we're going to need to find the foci points, and to do that the equation is h plus or minus c k. So for that we're going to need to find the c value, and we can find the c value by doing a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So we already know that a squared is 36 and b squared is 9, so we're just going to add those together and we get c squared equals 45. And then we're going to take the square root of 45, which is 3.671. So now we're just going to subtract the c value from the h and add it to the h to get both of our foci points. And lastly, we're going to find the asymptote because it applies to a hyperbola. And the equation for the asymptotes for a horizontal hyperbola are m equals plus or minus b over a. And we already know the b value is 3 and the a value is 6. So we just put those over each other. And that simplifies to 1 over 2. So just for fun and just to show our hyperbola, I decided to graph it. So I put the center at -7, -2. And then I drew out the vertices and their points, which are -13, -2, and -1, -2, which are also a length apart from each other. And then above and below the center, it goes b length apart from the center, so at 3 above and 3 below. And then I drew out the little square that we draw. So next I'm just drawing the foci where they belong, and I just wanted to make sure that I did it right, so I counted it out. And then I drew the asymptotes, which are plus or minus 1 over 2, so rise over 1, up 1 over 2. And I just drew them out on both sides. And then with the asymptotes, I just drew our hyperbola. And yeah, that's the end. That is the hyperbola and the equation solved.